Race number 7, guys, is the Group 2 Travers Stakes for the fillies and mares over the 2,000 metres. And we've got a genuine Group 1, well, probably a couple of genuine Group 1 performers here, Steve, topping this market.
Yeah, Two Illicit won a Captain Cook earlier this season on this track, albeit that was 16 v 2,000 on Saturday. $2.10, so open in the black, now trading in the red. Two Illicit at $1.90, well played. In front of Cinerama, who's been well supported, clearly the second best bat runner at $3.60 hard in that second line. Charm Star, $6.50, third fave. Zola Express, always well played early doors in terms of Thursday and Friday heading to a race day, $8.50 into 8. Lecrie at $10, double figures around Blue Moon at 26. Lily Dior 31 out to 41. Rip 'em Up also $41 quote, and Sanibel 41 out to 51. So Cinerama well played. Zola Express also well identified early doors, but Two Illicit is the best lead, 210 into 1.9 that.
Okay, 210 to $1.90 BP. Now look, you couldn't be disappointed with the effort over the mile last start around the favourite, so up to 2,000 looks a shot's eye here.
Yeah, and the key to that race was just with where she was in running and how the race developed. Imperatriz was in the right spot, Opie got out at the right time, and your two main dangers in that race were closers, Cavatina Bay and also Two Illicit, and they did exactly that, but they were just no chance of being able to catch Imperatriz with the type of run that horse got and how the race panned out. So they were very good through the line. Look, there's one race that always sticks with me when I think about Two Illicit, and it's the Waikato Guineas that she won at this venue over 2,000 metres. It was 2 years ago, yes, but it was the race that announced her as a serious racehorse when she was able to beat Travelling Light by, what was the margin in the end, 7.5 lengths. Travelling Light went into that race as a desperately short price favourite, and she came out and she blew them away in what was simply an emphatic victory, and as I said, announced her career really with how she, of course, went on. She went on to run in the Derby, and she finished into second position following that. She's won a Group 1 here at this venue in a Captain Cook Stakes over 1,600 metres this season. So things do look to be all setting up nicely for her. Stephen, I will come to you around this race in terms of tempo, because that looks to be a lack of it, a best way of putting it, with Charm Star, who has that ability of going forward and maybe trying to control the race like the horse did when she was in the Manawatu Breeders last time to the races.
It's a good point, BP. The speed, there's a lack of it. I had Charm Star leading, or at worst sitting outside the leader, possibly could be Lily Dior. She's had a tendency to go forward in a few of her races in the last season or two. Andrew Corder does the riding there. Andrew Corder flying at the minute. 7 wins from his last 25 starts for the young man. So a jockey on a little bit of a purple patch of form. But yeah, just back on the tempo, I think those two can really control. I think Billy has plenty of options here. If he does lead, he can control it up front. But even if he sits second outer, I don't think Andrew will want to go hard leading. So I think Billy can control how hard Andrew goes if he wants that spot with Lily Dior sitting outside the lead, does Billy. So Charm Star, look, she's
what about Charm Star? It's a bit of an unknown, isn't it?
She's a touch underrated purely because we haven't seen much of her in the last 12 to 18 months. But you just go back as a 3-year-old filly. She ran second to Armada Linear in the New Zealand Oaks, and then second to Duas in a Queensland Oaks this time last year. And then you look back in her spring form last year, and she was less than 3 lengths to Montefilia in a Metro last season. So she's got plenty going for her. She went under the guard at Alpuni, winning. You'd think there's probably more improvement to come. Third up. She was first time over ground, second up there, Charm Star. So yeah, we respected her enough at $6.50. I think she will be running for the tab purely on the profile that Two Illicit and Cinerama hold. But she is an interesting runner here, purely as what BP mentions around the map and the tempo, because I think Billy has the options here. He really can control the race, whether he leads or sits outside Lily Dior.
Okay, Paul, what are your thoughts here? $1.90 just too good, Two Illicit, or?
I think so.
Yeah, it's a bit like that for me too.
She just looks a wee bit too good this field, and for all the reasons that BP just stated just a while ago. I listened to ECNZ this morning, and they had Alan Sharrock on, and he said he's got Cinerama as good as she can be, but they'll need a hell of a lot of luck, or Two Illicit will need a whole lot of bad luck for Cinerama to get over the top, he said.
Really?
Yes.
Even Ellen admitted that?
Yeah, he thought Two Illicit was, well, obviously the the one to beat. But he's got Cinerama as good as she can be. So.
I mean, she's been in good form, Cinerama, Steve, to be fair. Look, just beaten last time by Charmstar, wasn't it? So where's she going to get to in the run, though? Drawn 4, she probably wouldn't want to get too far back, would she,
Yeah, I think
ideally?
she can sit midfield. What I like about Cinerama, just in most recent starts, the last 4 starts, she's showing a little bit more gate speed, and that's been hugely important. That's why you've seen a couple of wins in the recent 4 starts for Cinerama. You go back, you look on paper, Tarapa formed 3 starts, yet to finish in the top 3. I think it's a little bit misleading. Her last 2 starts at Tarapa, she's finished 5th in a Herbie Dyke. She was slow away. This was the Herbie Dyke over 12 months ago. And then she finished 4th in a Kelai Zuzu again last year when she was slow away, produced the best closing splits to finish 4th. You weigh her up then to now, and as I mentioned, she's just showing enough gate speed to improve 2 or 3 lengths on the map. And if she can situate herself midfield, maybe in front of Tualisa or even on par, she's got to be a chance. She comes out of the right race at Aupuni, those figures weighing up to what Tualisa has produced in recent times, is only around about a length inferior. So there's not too much between what Cinerama, Charmstar bouncing out of Aupuni, the favourite in Tualisa.
Yeah, okay. We see it time and time again, Pops, in these weight-for-age fillies and mares races, that they tend to be dominated by the pointy end of the market, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And I think that will be the case here on the weekend. I actually really like, I quite like Charmstar as a rough prospect of maybe trying to steal the race. I think she's got a great chance of doing that with how she won the Manawatu Breeders. I think Tualisa is the one to beat. I was looking at the exactas actually here. The fixed exacta, the 1-4 exacta is $8.40, or if you wanted to go the 1-2, which is Tualisa Cinerama at $4.80. Wouldn't mind actually entertaining playing around both of those little exacta bets there on Tualisa winning with Cinerama and Charmstar and behind. That could be a play that might get me before we shut off here here in the Hamilton studios for our day after the Rotorua races. Look, Zola Express, I suppose, is the other horse we need to talk about because of how good the horse was 2 starts ago, winning the Aupuni Gold Cup and beating home a Group 1 horse in Tiptronic. I mean, she was terrific with how she surged over the top. They had a crack at the Group 1 and well, they had to, didn't they, with how the numbers were faring for that race and in the New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders, and she was beaten 11 lengths and she got back in a sort of a sticky spot. So back to the 2,000 metres is going to be her best friend, but she's just going to have to turn around what happened last time out to the races here at Te Rapa. So they are the 4 that have the best credentials in the race. Then you start looking towards Le Crayere, who was beaten in the Manawatu Breeders last time out to the races. But really the real true Group 1 form is the horse at the top of the market, and that being Tualisa at 190.
But were you disappointed on Tualisa at last start?
Disappointed? Oh, certainly not disappointed with how she ran. There might have been a chance where there possibly could have been a little bit more positive. I'm not sure if they were planning to be positive to try and get her into the race early to get into a position of maybe outside leader. Because if she'd been in a more prominent position, look, she possibly could have won that race, but they decided to pull back. She had that little sticky barrier draw, pull back and try and let her roll over the top. And of course, just the way that race panned out, maybe they were looking for a little bit more genuine speed from, what was the horse, One Dream, One Soul, who was in front, the Lee Somerville horse. Opie got out at the right time, didn't he, instead of being caught in that little pocket, and that just meant that those horses in behind were chasing a memory, really, because they were going to have to be very superior and her off her game, and she wasn't when she won that race. So, look, they ran well, finishing 2nd and 3rd, and now she gets to 2,000 metres. As I said, she's got a great record at that distance at this venue. So, yep, I'm keen to be on her.
Okay, Pop's thinking fixed exactas with Cinerama and Charmstar. Paul, can you get away from the pointy end of this market? Probably not.
No, you can fall into the trap of trying to overanalyse a race when it's looking you straight in the face. And
You're the master of underanalyzing them.
Tualisa is just waving the hand and saying, pick me. So.
Yeah, you'll take the $1.90 Tualisa. Fixed exactas, not a bad idea potentially.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, BP. Hey.
He's probably on already, Pops.
Yeah, exactly. That price is gone.
Yeah, exactly. Righto, team. Last race.
I watched Michael's ride. Just going back on what BP was talking about Tualisa. I watched Michael's ride a few times. Look, I think just through circumstances, he was just unfortunate. Because if you look at the first 100, 150, Michael rode from a wide gate to try and situate the horse in the first 4. and there was just a few horses underneath him that wanted that same position. So he was in no man's land. He thought, okay, there's solid tempo for the first 200-300 metres. I'm just going to elect to go
Pull
back.
back.
As soon as he elected to go back onto Illicit, the pace
came out of
really
it.
slackened. So it was just through bad circumstances around Michael's ride on to Illicit. And as you looked out the overall race shape, we've touched on a few weeks ago, 5 lengths below par to the 600. The last 600, 34.13, 5.6 lengths above par.
That was Imperatrice, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah.
mathematically, she was in a no-go winning position
Okay.
at the top of the straight. So, yep, she's the
Right,
one to
right.
beat. I'm just not sure what her sweet spot is. If you asked me 12 months ago, 2,000 metres, yes. But I think what she's shown over 1,600 in the last 12 months, I think 2,000's neck and neck.
Okay, interesting. But she's going to be awfully hard to beat one way or another too. Illicit in our feature, the Travis.